ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் வெல்கம் டு அவர் சேனல். இப்போ நம்ம எங்கே போகிறோம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அரிசோனா. லாஸ் வேகஸ்லேருந்து இப்போ நம்ம அரிசோனா போயிட்டுருக்கோம். அரிசோனாவில் இப்போ நம்ம என்ன பார்க்க போகிறோம்னா ஹூவர் டேம். ஹூவர் டேம் பார்த்து என்ஜாய் பண்ணலாம். வாங்க வீடியோக்குள்ளே போகலாம். இந்த பஸ் டூர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நான் லாஸ் வேகஸ்லேருந்து புக் பண்ணது. இந்த பஸ் டூரோட பேர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஜிசி டூர்ஸ். இது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா என்னென்னலாம் கவர் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கிராண்ட் கேனியன் வெஸ்ட் ஸ்ட்ரீமை கவர் பண்ணுறாங்க, ஸ்கை வாக்கை கவர் பண்ணுறாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த ஹூவர் டேமும் கவர் பண்ணுறாங்க. இது அடிஷ்னலாக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா $20 லஞ்சுக்கு கலெக்ட் பண்ணுறாங்க. உங்களுக்கு வேணும்னா நீங்கள் லஞ்சுக்கு $20 நீங்கள் இது பண்ணிக்கலாம். பட் ஆனால் அதில் என்ன இருக்குன்னா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு இடத்துக்கு ஒரு பாயிண்ட்டுக்கு 20 மினிட்ஸ் கொடுக்குறாங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். நீங்கள் அந்த 20 மினிட்ஸ்குள்ளே பார்த்துட்டு நீங்கள் சாப்பிட்ணும். அதை நீங்கள் மிஸ் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு டைம் இருக்காது. அடுத்த பஸ் எடுத்துடுவாங்க. அதையும் நீங்கள் பார்க்கணும். டோட்டலாக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லாஸ் வேகஸ்லேருந்து கிராண்ட் கேனியனுக்கு 2.5 hours ஆகுது. டோட்டல் ப்ரைஸ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா யூஎஸ்டியில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா $155 இதுக்கு சார்ஜ் பண்ணுறாங்க இந்த டூருக்கு. இப்போ பார்க்குறது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அமெரிக்காவில் இருக்க ஹூவர் டேம் தான் நம்ம பார்க்குறோம். இந்த ஹூவர் டேம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 726 ஃபீட் ஹைட் இது. இது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 80 வருஷம் ஆகியும் இன்னும் ஸ்ட்ராங்காகவே இருக்குது. அந்த அளவுக்கு கட்டியிருக்காங்க இதை. இந்த டேம் மூலிமா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி ப்ரொடியூஸ் ஆகுது. கிட்டத்தட்ட பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 100,000 பீப்புள்ஸ்க்கு எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி கிடைக்குது. இப்போ நம்ம டூர் கைடு என்ன சொல்கிறாரு கேட்போம்.
Okay, let's go and have a look at the Hoover Dam. Now when you see the Hoover Dam, I would ask you to bear one thing in mind, and that's the time that it was built. Construction on the Hoover Dam started in 1931, which was way before the technology that we have today was around the earth-moving equipment, the computerized equipment, all of which we take for granted. In fact, they never built such a dam as this. Most of the work was done on this project was done by trial and error, and it's for those reasons Hoover Dam is still considered to be one of the 7 engineering wonders of the world. During the construction of the Hoover Dam, they had over 5,000 men working on it, working in continuous 8-hour shifts, 2 shifts a day, 7 days a week, 362 days a year. The only days they had off without pay was Christmas Day, Labour Day and Independence Day. Apart from that, come rain or shine, they were bust down in big old antiquated buses. Well, we would consider them as such. They thought they were the bee's knees. But this is the way they brought them down, and because of the work ethics they had back then, they completed this project over 2 years ahead of schedule and way inside the proposed budget. This is going to run us down to what was the marshalling yard during the construction era. Then when the Hoover Dam was complete, the area to which we heading became the main parking facility. We used to park the buses and cars down here, and they had shuttle buses running down to the dam. Then following the events of 9/11/01, that was all changed, and the area converted into a security checkpoint. At the security checkpoint, they're going to check the bus, check the bays to make sure that we have no luggage. Bus is not allowed to take any luggage over the dam now, purely for security reasons. Going to walk through the bus, just make sure we've got no pickaxes or sledgehammers, things like that. Going to look in the restroom too, just to make sure we've got no dynamite in there. So if there is anyone in the restroom, you had better get out now. Otherwise, you're going to get caught with your knickers down. Be warned, be warned. He wants to look in there. Don't want to see you sitting there. Oh, one thing. When we get down to the checkpoint, if you would please open up the overhead compartment above your seat. That way the inspector, as you walk through the bus, he can just check in to make sure there's nothing untoward in there. It's okay with your stuff being in there, you just don't want to see anything else in there. So if you could just open it up, that would speed up the process. Then once you've done that, if you could just remain seated, and then that will get us through this pretty quickly.
எந்த ஒரு லக்கேஜும் வந்து எடுத்துட்டு போக கூடாதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க. அங்க வந்து செக்யூரிட்டி வந்து செக் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஏதாவது லக்கேஜ் இருந்ததுன்னா நீங்க வந்து ஹோட்டல் ரூம் எடுத்துட்டு வராதீங்க. அந்த ட்ரிப்ல வந்து கொண்டு வராதீங்க.
A lot of traffic down here today. This might take a little longer than we normally do to get across the dam, but we'll see what we got. This will bring up the Silky checkpoint. As I say, if you could please open up the overhead compartment, that would be good. It's impressive. 1,200 feet above the canyon, 2,000 feet across. Concrete span is the widest concrete span bridge here in the United States. Over 649 million tons of concrete was poured into the facility, and over 6,000 tons of reinforced steel were used for strengthening. As we make the turn here, it's interesting to see them build the bridge. They started off by building the arch here, built it up in sections, held it in place with guide wires from above, got to the top, then just dropped the piece in like a jigsaw puzzle. There it was, one arch. Put the spurs up, put the span across, there it was, one bridge. As you come down the hill here, off the left is the public car park. In itself not that interesting, but outside of which is the monument to the high scalers. The high scalers were the guys that swung around on ropes in the early part of the construction, getting rid of all the loose rocks and preparing the side of the canyon for the building of the dam, coming up on the left here. And that was considered to be one of the more dangerous jobs. I mentioned out this morning that the average wage paid to the workers working on the Hoover Dam was 98 cents an hour. Those guys got paid $1.25 an hour because of the nature of the work. It's the visitor centre here to the right. Coming up on the left is the monument to the 96 men that are officially listed as dying here during the construction of the Hoover Dam. They're doing some renovation work here, cleaning it up, so it's a bit of a mess at the moment. Coming up on the left is two of the four water input towers, two here, two the other side. The water for the generators is taken in at the base of the tower, fed down through the generators, which nestles down on the south side of the dam. And then the water reappears further downstream. Over here to the left is the Black Canyon, and you can see that white alkali deposit line. That's where the water used to be, right to the very top of that. And it's been dropping and continues to drop, and that's a concern. What they're saying, if the water drops another, I think it's 50 feet or thereabouts, then they're going to have to close the power plant down, because they won't be able to get the water to the generators. And that's going to be a problem, not only for Las Vegas, but also Los Angeles, who gets most of its power from here.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate.
Coming up on the left is the spillway, one either side of the dam. Now the object of the spillway, almost ludicrous to talk about it at the moment, but the object of the spillway, if the water reaches the top of the dam, they've known up these big spillway gates That will allow the water then to divert away from the dam out through the diversion tunnel coming up here on the right. The diversion tunnel is 60 feet in diameter, 4,000 feet in length, one either side of the dam. Big hole in the ground here to the right. And they've used those spillways on a couple of occasions. The last time in earnest was in 1983, when they miscalculated how much water was coming down from the north, and they had to open up the spillway, and they were open for over 3 months till the water subsided back down to its normal operating height of 1,288 feet above sea level. During the Second World War, this was considered to be a vulnerable location, and they had all sorts of security in place back then, anti-aircraft guns either side of the canyon, machine gun emplacements all over, Marines were based down here. But as far as I know, guns were never fired in anger, and Marines never called upon to defend the facility. In the climate that we live today, this is still considered to be a vulnerable location. And they've got a lot of security still in place, some of it obvious, some not quite so obvious. We saw the security checkpoint that we came through. You'll see more police, ranger and homeland security personnel wandering around with their sniffer dogs and other equipment. But there are other measures that they don't talk about too much. But for an open facility such as this is, it's really very well defended. As we come up here, another view of that spillway tunnel. Unfortunately, the road's closed at the top of the hill now, so we're just going to pull over here, just to give you a few minutes, take a picture, click, 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 and a puff, 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 and then we're out here, back to Vegas. Another view of that spillway tunnel here to the right. We're just going to pull around here and give you a couple of minutes to take a picture or two. Kodak moment. Click, 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 and puff, puff, puff. Out we come. Okay. Kodak moment. Come on down.
இப்போ நம்ம பார்த்திங்கன்னா வந்து ஹூவர் டேம் வந்திருக்கோம். இது கொஞ்ச நேரம் வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா வந்து ஃபோட்டோ எடுக்கலாம், அவ்வளோதான். நம்ம இந்த இடத்த வந்து சுற்றி காமிச்சிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்ம வந்து வேகஸில் வந்து விட்டுருவாங்க.
And fell to their death. So although the percentage of fatalities was quite high, unfortunately much of it was of their own making. And it's not that happy with this location. So we fight our way back over the dam. Now I mentioned the 96 men that are officially listed as dying during the construction of the Hoover Dam. But that's not a true figure. It's the figure they use for the statistics, but it's not true because they changed the rules of the game. In the early days, if they were injured down here, taken up into the hospital and died in the hospital, then they were counted as dying at the Hoover Dam. But too many were dying. In the first 6 months, over 20 people died. And they realised that couldn't be in the hospital and died in the hospital, then you were no longer counted as dying at the Hoover Dam. Likewise, those, if they were taken up to the hospital and they died in the hospital, then the doctor said, no, they died of pneumonia, nothing to do with the Hoover Dam. So they did all they could to literally hide just how many people actually died. 96 is... them and their antics, and someone played up to the ground doing stupid things.
அவ்வளோதான் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ், இந்த வீடியோ இதோட முடியுது. அடுத்த இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கான வீடியோவில் பார்க்கலாம். இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்கள்.
And impressed they may have done.
Bye bye.